Alright guys, so we want to give you a quick little lesson on how he's climbing using the DRT method. A lot of guys who have tried it, they found it to be very difficult, and that's understandable until you kind of get the technique. Once you get the technique down, it may not necessarily be easier than other methods, but it's really not that difficult, and you can weigh your pros and cons as to if it's something that you want to use. But we'll let Scott explain to you the actual technique. I'm going to go stand next to him and just kind of point at where his hips are and that sort of thing, his feet, and try and give you the best explanation of how the technique works so it's easy for you.
Like we said, basically it's all about technique. When you stand up, keep yourself away from the tree, like we were talking about that Batman pose. You see Batman climbing up the buildings. So we grab the rope, and then when I pull down, I thrust my hips forward at the same time. All right. And if you do it that way, you're taking your body weight kind of off the rope, and your arms are taking over. So it's just the same thing. Pull and thrust at the same time. Forward. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, you're not technically pulling your body weight up. You're thrusting your hips forward, right, and you're just advancing the rope over the limb.
Exactly.
So you're not pulling your weight. You're pulling just the rope,
yeah.
And it's just that timing. And once you get that timing and the technique down, and I found that utilize your legs. If you don't have your legs in play, it really won't work. Right, then you're actually pulling yourself.
Exactly.
But if you're using your legs and your hips, there's really no weight that you're pulling up. It's just pulling the rope over the limb.
That's all it is. Basically, if you don't know how to thrust your hips forward.
Yeah, it's very important to be good at that.
Sorry for your girlfriends and your wives.
One thing too, if you notice when he does it, do another hip thrust and advance your knot. So he's hip thrust, advance the knot now.
You can keep that arm right
hold
there.
It back.
Strong in that position. Slide it.
Right. That's the part with the timing.
Yeah.
Because if you try to advance yourself or pull the rope down and you don't advance the knot, you're just going to fall right back to where you started.
Exactly.
Guys were asking even just what knot do you put on that?
Right. I think I'm even messed up too, because I think I said a half-inch knot, and what I meant is a half-hitch knot. So that threw anybody off. But basically, that's probably 5 feet of line, and that's to tie, your 2 halves in this, plus your climbing hitch, and then have a tail left over so you can put a safety knot, a safety half hitch in it as well. To make it even easier, I'd say take another bite of line, make it even longer, maybe keep it 6 feet.
Okay.
And then, basically that's all it is. It's just a simple pull it through. Okay, do it again. So 2 of them, 2 halves, and that's what attaches your carabiner. Okay.
Carabiner, or you don't even have to be on a carabiner there. If it's just a little easier.
You can tie this right directly to your bridge.
To your bridge if you want.
You don't even need a carabiner.
Yeah. So if you wanted to be one of those guys that goes real minimalist, you don't want to carry any extra weight.
Style that Joe does. I got a lot of excess rope here, so we'll tie the hitch.
And what he's going to do here, this is the method I prefer because it takes a step out of it for me.
It takes a step out of it, right. Makes it easier. So now what Joe does is he takes this long tail end and he ties another, you can do anything up here, half prusik, you tie another blake if you want. Actually you want to tie something that doesn't
slip, right?
Slip, right. Okay. And then basically it's your same thing. Get yourself away from the tree. All right. And this time when you hip thrust, all you're doing is pulling down, and the second knot advances your blade hitch knot.
See, you don't move.
That's it.
He lets go of the rope and he doesn't go back up. If in the other method, you'd have to advance the knot with your hand.
Right.
This one, it advances the knot all by itself. So it's just your hip thrust, pull down, and when you let go, you stay right where you left off.
That's it.
So it's a little easier. It's a
little easier.
little bit more to set up
But
because
it
now
also, right, it's a little more to set up. And then just, like I said, number one is tie your blade hitch knot first. Put some weight on it, set the knot so that it's not slipping back down, so it'll hold you on the tree. Once you get to that point, then tie your second hitch, because then you know this knot is set, so this knot's going to work. Because if this knot's tied loose and then you tie this and you go to pull up, you're going to slide back down again. So make sure you set your blade first. Once you do that, you know she's good. It ain't moving. Same thing. Two hands. You know, I see some guys, you know, I mean, everybody has a little bit different technique. I mean, your underhand pull is always going to be your strongest, you know, so, you know, pull right into your hips as you thrust your hips forward.
And the key there is thrusting your hips forward.
That's it, at the same time, because, you know, if you're there like this, and you're trying to pull yourself up the tree.
It's like impossible.
You know, I'm not doing that either. It's that simple. Just brace yourself against the tree. You know, you got even some leg action too. You know, so just push off with your legs, thrust your hips. That's it. Pull, thrust. Pull, thrust. Pull, thrust. That's simple.
This piece of property that we're on, that we're filming this stuff on, it's a small farm that belongs to a friend of mine. And we've been hunting this property for a couple of years. And about 125 yards from here, I have a redneck hay bale blind set up. And I have another couple of preset stands on the farm. But while we've been hunting here, kept seeing a lot of bucks coming out of this small little island of woods. They cross the road over here. There's a small little bedding area here, actually, and they come out this way. They come out under this oak, and they'll feed on acorns
when they're dropping.
And you know, my friend gave me permission to hunt this property, but you know, this big, beautiful oak. We realized, like, you know, this is a dynamite spot to get into, but you know, how do I get into that tree without hurting it? You know, I have climbing sticks. My climbing stick ropes, even with the rope mods, aren't long enough to get around it. I would probably typically, you know, using any method, I'd probably just use screw-in steps on a big tree like this.
But we can't here.
But I can't here, and you know, on like public land, you wouldn't be able to do that either. And you know, if I put steps in here, my friend will kill me. So
no more farm.
yeah, so this method, or maybe SRT, would work really good on this, and that's where this method really shines on trees like this.
Yeah, because this is you know, they typically stage here before going out into the field. Now we kept noticing, like I said, we got stands were set across this field. I mean, yeah, I guess it could, you know, possibly get in one of these trees, but it's, you know, they're pretty thin. But this oak will hide us perfectly. And we just kept saying, this is the tree we need to get into.
That's one of the cool things too about saddle hunting, is you get a big tree like this, even with a tree stand. If you had sticks that could get up there, with a tree stand, if the tree's so darn big, you wouldn't be able to get a stand in it.
Right.
You know, but with saddle hunting you can, and even another thing about this DRT, even with saddle hunting, if you were using sticks, this trunk of this tree is so big, you don't have to get way high just to get your tether around it.
Exactly.
So the DRT method, you get around a limb, and it just, you know, it opened you up to be able to hunt a tree like this.
Right.
So
just another tool.
yeah.
Basically what it comes down to, another tool in our arsenal.
Yeah, a lot of you guys probably noticed things like that, or you've been up against it, you're like, you know, what am I going to do here? But, yeah, if you can get steps up in it and stuff, it's probably not a big deal. But you just got to improvise and overcome, and this will give you that tool to do that. So.
I'll do it. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy it.